In fact, does anybody, y'all know, old enough to remember MacGyver? Yeah. All right. So MacGyver, I MacGyvered our communication staff. What I did was I gave them like just shreds, little bits and pieces of things that I wanted to include in the state of the county. And I gave it to them. It was like parts from an old car. And they turned it into a rocket ship to the moon. I mean, this is really something. So before we get underway, and they will hate this because communications people never like to actually get attention, but Mary Beth Schubert and the communications team, can you guys please stand? This, you'll be impressed. The only bad thing about this will be me reading, but in terms of the presentation itself, it's phenomenal. By the way, did you see that the twins are up for sale? Anybody else as excited as I am? So it finally gives me a chance to tell my one joke about the twins, and that was when Divine Redeemer Hospital was open. Joe Maurer went there, and he was waiting for his wife to have kids. Joe lives just a mile over this way. And the nurse came out, and she said, "Congratulations, Mr. Maurer, you're going to have twins." And by the way, they really did have twins. And he said, "Well, that's remarkable because I work for the twins." And then there was a fella sitting next to him. There were like 4 folks in the waiting room. There was another fella sitting next to him. And the nurse said, "Congratulations, you're going to have triplets." And he said, "Well, that's amazing as well, because I work for 3M. The next fella, she said, "And you, sir, are going to have quadruplets." And he said, "That is amazing, because I work for the Four Seasons Hotel." And then also the final person in the room was Len Mankowski, who's like a South St. Paul icon. And Len was kind of shaking and quivering. And she said, "Sir, what's wrong?" They all said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "Well, I'm Len, I work for Southview 66. So anyway, Len, by the way, just ran on the road again for the 47th year, 36th year, something like that. All the wonderful volunteers who made On the Road again, such an amazing success yet again this year. So, all right, now we'll actually get underway, Nathan. So, good afternoon, Apetu Washte, which is Dakota for welcome. And happy birthday to Dakota County. This is actually our 175th year. In 17 days, October 27th of 1849, Dakota County became one of the 9 original counties in Minnesota. And we celebrate that here in just 17 days. So we thank you for joining us. We have much to show for the last 175 years, much to be proud of, and much to look forward to. But we stand on the shoulders of others, of our predecessors who came before us, who served and sacrificed to make such a smart, safe, and sustainable county. A great place to live, great place to live, a great place to work, and a great place to raise a family. Our aim is to follow the lead of the first people who occupied this place, the first conservationists, who called this place called Dakota, which means friends and allies, and leave it better than we found it. We have done pretty well so far. Dakota County is a lot like our bison herd, thriving and ready for whatever comes our way. We're steadily growing, we're focused on what's important, and we're excited for the future. I'm going to spend the next 7 minutes sharing with you where we're at, 7 more minutes humbly thanking those who got us here, and 7 minutes outlining the exciting work that lies ahead. Before we begin, though, I'd like to thank our sponsors, our co-hosts, our Chambers of Commerce who are with us here today, the Dakota County Regional Chamber, St. Paul Area Chamber, Apple Valley Chamber, Burnsville Chamber, Hastings Chamber, Lakeville Chamber, and the River Heights Chamber of Commerce. Could you please join me in thanking these folks? Also our co-hosts, the City of South St. Paul, the South St. Paul School District, and Neighbors, Inc., our local food shelf. Could you all please stand? If you're on the City Council, if you're a mayor, superintendent of schools, school board members. And I will tell you, I'll give you a little ahead of time theme for what we're talking about here today. The one thing that you will hear, you heard it when I talked about the communications folks, you've heard it when I talked about our frontline partners, is that we appreciate our employees so much, our volunteers, our frontline partners at the cities, the schools, our legislative leaders and lawmakers at the state level, the federal level. Nothing that I'm going to talk to you about today is anything that we could have done on our own. Literally everything that's on this state of the county is done through collaboration with our local partners. And that will be my theme to start. That'll be what we'll finish with, is that's how all this gets done. Thank you, by the way, to anybody that's made contributions to our food shelf. We appreciate it. World Food Day is approaching. I believe it is, October 16th. It's a good reminder of the importance of providing access to healthy food to residents in need, but also the importance of agriculture in Dakota County. Commissioner Slavic, how much of Dakota County is it, of 546 square miles, how much is still rural? How much is still ag? About 350 square miles is still ag, still rural. So we take that very proudly. We're also #1 in 4-H, more members of 4-H anywhere of any county in Minnesota. Now, by the way, I'm not cocky or crazy enough to tell you that Dakota County is the best county in America yet. But there are some experts out there, and I'm going to rely on some of their data to share with you about how we're doing. First is, for example, Dakota County is the only county in the country to actually earn the nation's top awards in 4 separate areas: public safety, public health, transportation, fleet, and infrastructure. That's out of 3,000 counties nationwide. We earned all this recognition in just the last 6 years. Our service is across many areas. We provide public safety and operate Dakota 911. We run the jail. We prosecute all the felonies countywide. We handle 50,000 crisis intake calls a year, and we maintain 1,050 lane miles of county roads and 164 bridges. We also operate 10 libraries that welcome 2 million visitors who checked out 4 million materials last year from 10 libraries, including one that was recently opened here in South St. Paul, and our libraries were just named the very best in Minnesota. We oversee a 5,000-acre park system, a trail system, protect 12,000 acres of scenic natural areas and wetlands, and maintain over 1 million property records. Dakota County vigorously protects our natural resources. We have permanently protected nearly 12,000 acres of woods, lakes, farmlands, and natural areas. Reclaimed and restored another 1,000 acres from invasive species like buckthorn. We brought back bison in Dakota County for the first time since 1840. Thank you. I was not here the last time they were here, but it's been a while. And as we stand here today, the final leg of the 28-mile Mississippi River Greenway is just about finished. It'll be finished in the next several days. That connects all the way from here in South St. Paul, through Inver Grove, through Commissioner Drosty's district in Rosemont, all the way to Commissioner Slavic's district in Hastings. You will literally be able to walk or ride a bike all the way from here to Hastings, and if you go the other way, that portion of the trail is actually going to be done all the way to Burnsville, through Commissioner Halverson's, Commissioner Workman's districts. So you talk about walking and be able to bike and being a pedestrian, bicycle-friendly county. We're doing that in spades. On the natural resources side, there's, I'm sorry, I bumped ahead a little bit. We also vigorously protect our natural resources. Let's have a look at some of what we do.
At one time, Dakota County was mostly covered with prairie, with some woods and wetlands throughout the county. Over time, these natural communities were converted to farms, homes, roads, and other uses. Now, Dakota County parks and other public lands contain much of what remains of this original landscape. The county's natural resource program restores, enhances, and maintains the natural areas of our parks and greenways, an area totaling more than 6,000 acres. And we work closely with private landowners and others to improve natural resources throughout the county. More than 50 rare animal species and 20 rare plants have been discovered in the parks, including the Blanding's turtle, the Henslow sparrow, and the rusty-patched bumblebee. Our work is guided by a natural resource management system plan. To date, nearly 2,200 acres have been restored and are being maintained. We're restoring another 600 acres now. A big part of this work is reintroducing native plants and animals that were once important to these natural areas but are no longer found here. Our reintroduction of bison to the prairies of Spring Lake Park Reserve is an example of this. Reintroducing bison has also deepened ways we can learn and connect with our Indigenous partners. We're proud of the work we've accomplished, and we're excited for what lies ahead. We're already preparing for a new greenhouse at Lebanon Hills Regional Park to grow more native plants, and soon we'll be developing a new natural resource management system plan. These efforts will help us continue to restore and manage valuable natural resources throughout Dakota County.
And again, a credit to our wonderful staff. We've got employees like Tom Lewanski, who narrated that, who've just been amazing leaders on the natural resource front. By the way, we'd be remiss if we didn't give a nod. 5 years ago, we had some folks who wanted to take 500 million gallons of water from Dakota County and ship it to the desert Southwest. Thank you to all those, including, I know I saw Representative Hansen, but also members of our board, for standing up and saying no. That's 2.5 billion gallons of water that have remained, groundwater, that have remained here in Dakota County. And for those who aren't aware of this, in the next decade, we expect our own water shortages here. It's very easy to see that right now when you look out the door. It wasn't so easy to remember that when we had monsoon season in June. But we anticipate water shortage, water quantity issues of our own here in Dakota County. As important as, you tell them, Paul. Are you actually cheering for water shortages?
No, saying
no. Oh, all right, okay, just so we're clear. As important as protecting our water and our natural resources, we also want to shine a light on Dakota County's efforts to protect our health, our families, and our future. Dakota County Community Services administered nearly 6,000 vaccinations so far this year alone. We helped nearly 7,000 people with job searches last year, and are on pace to help even more in 2024. We worked with nearly 5,400 veterans to connect them to the services that they've earned. And we've provided care to more than 110 people from low-income households through our mobile dental clinic so far this year, and found permanent housing for 210 families experiencing homelessness. Speaking of protecting our future, soon Dakota County will begin generating more electricity than all of our county buildings and facilities use. In fact, we will generate twice as much as all of our buildings and facilities use. We have not yet been able to find a single county in the country that can make that claim. And it's entirely from renewable energy sources. Thank you. So between new and more efficient turbines at the Billsby Dam, improved conservation efforts at 18 county buildings, and 4 solar institutions, we will generate 27 million kilowatt hours from clean energy sources. We will reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 4 million pounds per year, and will decrease our annual electricity costs by 25% a year. Sustainability's efforts do not stop with hydro and with conservation. Right-sizing our fleet, together with mileage controls and the transition to hybrids and battery electric vehicles, has improved miles per gallon by over 30%, while simultaneously saving on fuel costs, reducing pollution, and lowering greenhouse gases. This efficiency, together with the safety and performance of our fleet services, prompted the National Association of Fleet Administrators to name Dakota County the best public fleet in America in 2024. If that wasn't impressive enough, it wasn't a fluke. Government Fleet Magazine previously named Dakota County the best fleet in the nation as well. Congratulations to folks in fleet services. We got a lot to celebrate in the area of transportation, and here's just some of what we've accomplished this year. We've got a new roundabout on County Road 11 and Burnsville Parkway, which will improve traffic and mobility, pedestrian safety improvements along Delaware Avenue in West St. Paul and Mendota Heights, reconstruction of Dodd Boulevard in Lakeville, accessibility, road, and safety improvements to Yankee Doodle Road in Eagan. And that's only some of it. There are 5 more projects around the county that will be wrapped up this year. And these projects are making it easier to get around Dakota County and safer, not only for drivers, but for pedestrians and bicyclists. As a result of smart spending, scrupulous saving, and productive partnerships, Especially with our local cities and our school districts, Dakota County is one of just a handful of counties in the country with zero debt. While this may or may not remain the case in the future, not having to pay millions of dollars in annual interest rates for nearly a decade has helped hold down our county property taxes to an average of 1.16 per year since 2012. In fact, the state's Department of Revenue shows Dakota County's property taxes per person are now the lowest of Minnesota's 87 counties, while our credit rating from Standard & Poor's is the best of any county in the country. Also, Dakota County's financial rating is now better than 34 states and the federal government, and apparently some 7 nations around the world. Anyway, we're doing pretty well financially. Still got more work to do, but this is usually the point. Now, you heard some nice things, and thank you for the kind applause for all the folks here that work at Dakota County. This is normally where elected officials now take a victory lap and proclaim all these wonderful things that we've done. Again, I would emphasize that this is only done in collaboration with our local partners, with our private partners, with our volunteers, with our nonprofits. None of this happens without the folks that we partner with every day to make these sorts of successes happen. As well as our residents and our taxpayers. We sometimes forget that they're the ones who pick up the tab. We should never forget our residents, our businesses, and our taxpayers. Our county employees are true partners in these accomplishments. From public health and communications and the county attorney to parks and trails and roads and libraries, nothing we do happens without them. They are truly the engine that makes this happen, and they are the best in the business. The key to Dakota County's financial resilience and success is our collaboration with our partners, our cities, our schools, our state and federal officials, as well as business, nonprofit, and faith communities are all crucial to our success. Our cities have had some amazing accomplishments recently, and we've been fortunate to be partners with them on some of these great projects. You can see behind me what a few of examples of those are, and those are just examples. All across the county, our cities are doing phenomenal work. The same holds true with respect to our schools. Our quality education is a critical asset to Dakota County. And the annual list of the best high schools from U.S. News and World Reports includes every single high school here in Dakota County, with 3 high schools, all of whom are in the top 20%. 3 are actually in the top 5% in the nation. When the Minnesota Vikings decided to move to Dakota County, what did they cite? They cited great infrastructure, they cited low taxes, and they talked about great schools. Even the Minnesota Vikings understand the need for workforce. And that's where you got great schools, it means you got great workforce. When you got great workforce, you got great businesses. When you got great businesses, you got a great tax base. When you got a great tax base, you can fund our schools, you can fund our cities, you can fund the county, and you can do it at a reasonable rate. From public safety and public health to roads and bridges to parks and trails and libraries, Dakota County could not do what we do, and certainly not as well or as cost effectively, without our frontline partners. Examples of these ongoing collaborations include Dakota 911, the Drug Task Force, our Special Operations Team, and the Electronic Crimes Unit. It includes Aspen House, where we've had a full year of operations serving teens in crisis. It includes 10 libraries now in communities across Dakota County. It includes county road construction, completion of the Billsby Dam that I mentioned, and our ongoing efforts to address housing and homelessness. South St. Paul offers some terrific examples and helps tell this story with collaborative partnership to redo Concord and build the scenic Wacota Trailhead, to complete the Mississippi River Greenway, which actually started right here in South St. Paul about 32 years ago, and to fund fentanyl prevention and treatment. The opening of the new Kaposia Library is another terrific example. And on a gravely serious note, saving the life of a distraught teen on a bridge when Dakota County social worker Serene Bachman, who was embedded with the South St. Paul Police, teamed up with South St. Paul Police Department School Resource Officer Emily Danner to safely talk a girl down from a swing bridge over the Mississippi River back, I believe that was in February or earlier this spring. It's a reminder of just how impactful their work is. And then there's the drone team. that partnered with South St. Paul to bring a safe end to an April 7th standoff with an armed man in a 9-story apartment building. Let me show you a little bit of something. We've got a quick video to show you just how well our drone pilots operate the drone, both inside and outdoors. The ability to safely view potentially dangerous situations is bringing more critical incidents to a safe and peaceful end. So that's what it looks like on a screen, but I think it's worth taking a look at it in action. We've got Sergeant Qualley is right outside, and he's going to show you what it looks like in action. At least I hope so. So everybody be ready, keep your heads down. And I think we're actually going to try to show this live on the big screen besides. You should all be thanking your lucky stars that I am not the one in charge of technology. But we're making the connection right now to Sergeant Qualley. All right, ladies and gentlemen, live from South St. Paul, the center of the universe. Oh my God, I'm so glad that went right. Chief Leco made this happen. And he'd get angry with me, in fact, if I didn't say, and he would be the first one to give Sergeant Qualley and the drone team, those are the folks that deserve credit. They figured out how to do this. They've got a lot of initiative to make it happen, and the whole point is to have peaceful outcomes, to use that sort of technology, just like we did here in South St. Paul on April 7th, to result in peaceful, safe outcomes for all involved. So Sergeant Qualley, to the drone team, Sheriff, thank you very much. The drone team is just part of a group that never rests. They're on duty 24/7, 365. By the way, hey, Sergeant Qualley, come on in before I keep moving on. This is so he's out there, but now he's in here for a second. Let's give him a hand that he can actually hear. We appreciate that very much. So 24/7, 365, every weekend, every holiday, every birthday, every day, and every night. Just like my friend from the Sheriff's Department, our neighboring county, Councilman Todd Podgorski. But I want to call special attention and appreciation to our first responders. While others run from danger, they run towards it, including Dakota County first responders recognized earlier this year with life-saving awards. Like Dakota County Sheriff's Detective Matt Lohman, who's in the center, who saved the life of a toddler pulled from a burning apartment building. Detective Ryan Olson, who's on the left, whose quick action saved the lives of a motorcyclist involved in a severe crash on a highway. And Deputy Dominic Scudera, who leaped aboard a houseboat and saved the life of a man suffering a drug overdose. Detectives Lohman and Olson and Deputy Scudera and their colleagues would be the first, though, to remind us to not forget our Dakota 911 telecommunicators, what we used to call dispatchers, like Jenny Baran, Dave Chilson, and Melissa Pierce, who each coached a 911 caller through an emergency birth prior to the arrival of first responders. Their calm assuredness and attention to protocol resulted in healthy outcomes for 3 moms and babies this past year, under very, very challenging circumstances. There are a half-dozen people here in Dakota County right now, including 4 children under the age of 4, who might not be here today had it not been for them. And all these heroes would be the first ones to recognize and push off anybody calling them heroes. They'd be the first ones to recognize their colleagues, their families, and particularly this year, the heroes who gave their own lives to protect others. Their service, their sacrifice, and their families will not be forgotten. In that spirit, we'd like to share with you all a short tribute to Dakota County's fallen first responders.
Red and blue lights cover 75 like a train. Miles of cars full of people with nothing to say. The sun's out, you think that it's just another November day. Oh, and I can't help but be mad knowing I'll leave and you're gonna stay. They called me on a cell phone telling me there's an officer down, and we prayed for a miracle, but you didn't come back around. Oh, I kissed you goodbye 1,000 times, but never like I'm doing right now. Oh, with 21 shots going up for the officer down. They called me and told me it's my officer down. And I talked to you and begged you, but you didn't come back around. Oh, I kissed you goodbye 1,000 times, but never like I'm doing right now. Oh, with 21 shots going up, I wish you had more time with us, 'cause 33 years ain't enough for the officer down.
And would you all please join me for just a moment as we remember those fallen and their families. They will never be forgotten. Thank you. Let us never forget their sacrifices. Let us never forget how everyone pulled together across Burnsville, across Dakota County, across the state of Minnesota, to stand with and support our brothers and sisters in Burnsville in their hour of need. This is who we are. So at no time in Dakota County's 175-year history have our partners at the state and federal level delivered more for Dakota County than in the last 5 years. Before I make these comments, do we have some legislators that are in the room, and would you please stand and give a wave? Senator Jim Carlson, Representative Liz Ryer, Representative Mary Frances Clardy. I know Representative Hansen was here as well. No time in 175 years have they delivered this much. Here's a quick look at some of the great celebrations we've had in appreciation of these investments and partnerships. You can clap for that. By the way, as we approach the end of the State of the County, I did want to take a note that you see those folks trying to throw dirt with shovels? You can sure tell that we're in the political business and not the shoveling business. We do our best, so if we can get it pointed the right direction and throw the dirt in the right direction. But seriously, thank you to our state legislators. Thank you to Congresswoman Craig. Thank you to Senator Klobuchar, Senator Smith. They have delivered, like I say, more in the last 5 years than we've seen at any period of our time in the last 175 years. And you are sitting in the next great example of these collaborative efforts, right here at the Croatian Hall. State, county, and city leaders are working together to make use of a legacy grant to make repairs and do maintenance on this historic, this storied, this iconic 105-year-old wonderful spot, the structure that has served immigrants and their local families so well since 1919. And I think, in fact, there I see him. He won't sit down. But we've got Tony Bilgen, who's the grand poobah, and his wife are both joining us. But nobody works harder. If you run a place like this, if you run a nonprofit like Neighbors, or you know how hard this work is. And Tony literally has been, what are you, like the chair or the president, Tony? What are you? President. So not poobah. Think about it. We could put it in the bylaws, poobah, but Tony has been the president since this place opened in 1919. I mean, it's just, but it's been a long time, Tony, and it's very much appreciated. And collaborations like this do not happen if you do not have somebody like Tony and his family and the board and the people that make this place work so well, working together to bring those collaborations together and make them happen. We've also got on the Dakota County's thousands, literally thousands of volunteers contributed 28,529 hours of service over the past year to further improve county services. With a value of $907,000, our dedicated volunteers, they kept 4,498 pounds of items out of local landfills, removed 3,247 pounds of garbage from our riverbanks and greenways, planted 12,000 native plants, patrolled 5,380 miles of parks and trails, packed 25,000 meals for feeding hungry children. Those are just some of the examples. And by the way, at your table, if you're engaged or interested in engaging in volunteer activities, we would welcome you to be part of our volunteer efforts if you're not already. Please join me in giving a hand to our volunteers, literally thousands of volunteers across Dakota County. We are also seeing a renaissance and a renewal in our business community led by chamber leaders looking to partner with businesses as large as the Minnesota Vikings and Meta, to as small as Watson Fong at the Asian Mart and Robin Reitberger at Hometown Meats and Delceria Piñata Simas here in Dakota County, investing all that they've got in building successful businesses. We are seeing local faith communities like the River Heights Church partnering with us to create affordable housing at the Cahill Place in Inver Grove Heights and serving up healthy meals for families residing there. And we're seeing nonprofits like our friends at Neighbors, our local food shelf, still innovating after 50 years of providing services, investing in financial empowerment efforts that teach a man to fish by providing skills for a lifetime to those who will benefit from them most. Well, we appreciate all these frontline partners, all these partnerships. Now is no time to take our foot off the gas. There's too much opportunity and too many challenges. Enormous work already done and strategic planning underway means that in the next 12 months, Dakota County will generate from renewable sources more electricity than all of our county buildings and facilities use. We will open a crisis and recovery center in West St. Paul for people experiencing a mental health crisis so that they can be close to their families. We'll create an integrative health unit in the jail in Hastings to further address chemical dependency, mental health, and physical health issues of our incarcerated persons and help prevent them from returning to jail. We'll kick off construction of 1,000 affordable units, affordable homes, and address homelessness across Dakota County. We'll step up efforts to promote economic development, including helping clean up and develop polluted sites across the county, and we will improve health and accessibility to county services and amenities for all, regardless of where they live, whether they've got a disability, regardless of income, color, gender, or age. And this is why the state of the county remains rock solid, yet humbled and appreciative of all those who have brought us to this point. And again, I said at the beginning, I said during the course of this, and I will say again right now, that none of this happens without all of our local partners. If I could have our friends on the South St. Paul City Council please stand. Todd Podgorski, Pam Bakken, Mayor Jimmy Francis, Lori Hanson. Todd is so damn tall, I couldn't see Matthew. We've got our City Council, our school board and school board members. Thank you to our partners on the school board all across Dakota County, our cities all across Dakota County, our nonprofits all across Dakota County, private and public partners. None of this happens without you. We very much appreciate your support. We very much look forward to the future and being able to work successfully in the future to come. Could I also have our elected officials from, I know we've got some city council members here. I see Sue Gliva and John Murphy from Inver Grove. Tom Seberg, by the way, I missed when I was doing the city council rundown. Tom has been on the city council for a year or two. I think he's the senior member of the city council and maybe the senior city council member anywhere in Dakota County. Thank you for being here, Tom. But council members Murphy and Gliva, are there other, I saw Dan O'Leary here, Mayor O'Leary. Oh, Mayor Dietrich is sitting, well, yeah, there's Dan. There's Mayor Dietrich from Inver Grove. Thank you all so much for the partnerships. This will conclude, but not conclude our full program. This will conclude the State of the County. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you all for standing for so long. And God bless Dakota County.